Hey, I'm Larry Graham, race director of Calvin's Challenge, and as soon as I get done with here, get a hot shower, I'm going to watch the OhioRAAM show.
Thank you, Larry Graham, for that introduction, and we thank you and your lovely wife, Christine, for 8 years of wonderful service as race directors of Calvin's Challenge. We hope that the service you have rendered is meaningful to you, because it's certainly been meaningful to the ultra cycling community. And Calvin's Challenge has been a great help to the OhioRAAM show as we have covered the races. We have met a lot of people, and it has helped to increase our audience, and we appreciate what you've done. The OhioRAAM show is a show about cycling and ultra cycling. It airs 3 times a month, on the 7th, the 17th, and the 27th. But when we get into the race across America, there'll be some extra little clippets of shows as that race goes on. The show goes on vacation then for July and August and be back in the fall. We already have a lot of shows recorded, and quite an interesting lineup for the fall. The OhioRAAM show is sponsored by time stations 41 in Oxford, Ohio, and 42 in Blanchester, Ohio. These time stations serve the race across America, and during the race they are open 24 hours a day. You have their 24-hour food, 24-hour fuel, and most important, 24-hour fans. If you are a fan of the race across America, live anywhere in the Midwest area, we welcome you to come and visit with us, get acquainted with the services we offer there at the time stations. There are people there all the time, around the clock, who can help you get updated on the race. If you're new to the whole world of ultra cycling or the race across America, they are knowledgeable about the race, how it works, what's going on. Now, the dates for this year's race, the dates the time stations will be open, will be June 21st, Tuesday, June 21st, to Saturday, June 25th. Sometimes there are racers who come through a bit early. Our 24-hour operations begin on the 21st and continue until the last racer has passed by, usually sometime on Saturday the 25th. Come on out and enjoy this remarkable sport. You'll see something you won't hardly believe until you actually see it. And this year there's special events going on at both time stations, and we're going to mention something that's going to happen at time stations 42 this year with the lady in pink here, Amy McFadden. And time stations 42 is going to be all in pink this year because of the good graces of Ray Brown and his benefit for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. The pink time station 42 in Blanchester. Hey, we'll tell you a little more about what's going on at time station 41 a little later on, but we're real happy and excited about that. And I'm Lee Kreider, the host of this show, and we're getting very, very close to our 4th birthday. This is show number 121. Today's show features the Midwestern Blazing Saddles, an 8-person team based here in the Midwest, Ohio and Indiana. They are not only racing in the Race Across America this year as an 8-person team, but they have some remarkable programs they carry out during the year, and this is a part of their fundraising for that. With that, let's go on and meet some members of Blazing Saddles. And so we're here with the Midwestern Blazing Saddles, an 8-person team for Race Across America 2016, and I'm going to go over to Keith. You're the person who I've been in contact with, so I'm going to let you tell us about the other team members we got here.
Sure.
Where are you at, Keith?
Sure, thanks, Lee. We're in New Albany, Ohio, which is a suburb of Columbus, and I'm here with Dan Wesley, who's one of the riders and is our team coach. He's a certified USA Cycling and USA Triathlon coach. And Wes participated as a coach and crew member of our Race Across the West effort in 2014, and will be racing with us as a racer in our Race Across America effort with Midwestern Blazing Saddles. We have Rocco Maiolo with us, who was our crew chief for RAW 2014, and will be racing with us this year, and also a valuable part of the organization of the event. We have Mike Barrand from Indianapolis, Indiana, and his son Zach. Mike was on the crew for our RAAM effort in 2014, and will be racing with us on the bike this year for Race Across America. His son Zach is a aspiring and outstanding cyclist who will be crewing with us, keeping everything in order and keeping everybody hydrated and fed throughout the hopefully less than 6-day event. We've got Kurt Kramer from Indianapolis, Indiana. Kurt is a physician's assistant with orthopedic practice there. He's a very experienced endurance cyclist. Will be joining us as a racer on our Race Across America effort this year. We've got John White, who is from Warsaw, Indiana. John is a former Cat 3 cyclist who has done multiple endurance events, including triathlons, and competed as one of the racers in the Race Across the West team in 2014, where we placed third, and we look forward to racing with him again. And then finally, on our lineup on the call today is Rick Miller, and Rick is our crew chief and sort of organizer extraordinaire, and is going to be an incredibly great asset to Midwestern Blazing Saddles as we attempt to win the event in the 8-man category.
Okay, Keith, quickly, the RAAM event. Now, you had a different team name then, didn't you?
Yeah, so we were Raw Ortho, one word, Raw Ortho, and as we transitioned into the Race Across America, not all of us are orthopedic-minded folks as we were on our initial effort, and so we transitioned to more of the emphasizing Midwest between Indiana and Ohio, and so we're Midwestern Blazing Saddles, a little bit of play on words with the saddle time that's required to Race Across America, and of course one of our favorite movies, Blazing Saddles, as well.
Which, by the way, I don't think I've ever seen.
In this environment, particularly in election year, it's not the most politically correct movie you're ever going to see, I can tell you that.
Well, we won't get into politics too much, but the reason I'm dressed up here, I just walked in from church. I happened to be lay reader this morning, and the epistle lesson I had to read was Paul bragging about how good he was, and I thought afterwards I could have mentioned that this sounds a lot like some politicians I know, but that's neither here nor there. So we're recording this on the 13th of March. It'll play sometime either late April or early May. We'll see how that fits into the schedule here, but we'll get it in there. But Keith, tell me a little bit about cycling and how you got into this crazy thing we call ultra cycling and the Race Across America.
Yeah, so you know, my background was I am not by any means an endurance athlete. I was not a cyclist. I didn't own a bicycle, and my wife participated in the first year of an event that's called Pelotonia.
Oh yes.
And Pelotonia, she was in the first year. She went and rode 50 miles. I was so incredibly impressed with her ability to do that. It seemed just like an insurmountable distance. And so she was so excited about the experience, the survivors and the cancer patients on the side of the road cheering her on. I mean, it's an outstanding event. It's turned into, you know, they've raised over $100 million for cancer research at the James Cancer Institute. And so when she really inspired me to buy a bicycle, quite honestly, and get out and start riding. And so the second year of Pelotonia, I rode the 100 mile. That was my first century ride. And then from there, it's been unfortunately not all downhill, but there's been a lot of uphills too. But cycling's been an absolute passion of mine, and we've brought together a great group of guys to do RAW, and then we developed into an even bigger group of guys to do RAM, and so that's how I got involved with endurance cycling.
And Dan, tell me a little bit about how you've had quite a little career in racing, I take it.
A little bit. So got into cycling and triathlon. Get everybody here in the picture.
You're good.
Back in 2008, and then moved my way up to Ironman triathlon. So that started the endurance endeavor. met Keith 4 years ago. And then we just became mutual friends, riding buddies, and then he presented the opportunity to coach the RAAM team and crew it. Actually, the original was I coach and crew chief it, but that was going to be too big of a battle, so I brought Rocco on as the crew chief. And along the way, met the rest of the people who are now part of the Midwestern Blazing Saddles, and here we are today, getting ready to take it on in June.
Okay, very good. All right, let's go to John. Tell me a little about yourself, John, how you got into cycling and how you got wrapped up in this.
Great. So, yeah, I started riding a bike back in the 80s and when I was in school, and got a good buddy who kind of got me into the USCF Cycling Federation racing, and so I kind of rode quite a bit in the 80s, and then late 80s I did this Davis Double Century, which was kind of in Davis, California, which was my first sort of endurance cycling event. And since then, my wife and I have really gotten are excited about riding our tandem bicycle. So we ride a lot, and we ride the Hilly 100 Century
Yes.
every year. And so, and then met up with Keith and Lance Perry, who's not on the call, and Chip, who's also not on the call, but we did RAM, and it really had a great time doing that, and got very excited about doing that. And I'm really pumped to be on Midwestern Blazing Saddles, and hope to be able to raise some funds for Operation Walk. So.
Well, we're going to talk more about that in just a little bit, but let's go to Kurt and tell me a little about yourself, Kurt.
I've been riding for approximately 13 years. Right after I got married, I wanted to buy a bike and golf clubs. My wife pick one because they're both pretty expensive, and I chose the bike. And Mike and I were just talking the other day. That was one of the best decisions I've ever made. So I'd probably weigh 250 and not be sitting here today if I was playing golf instead. So I've done multiple century rides, mostly for charity. Mike and Keith got me involved in Pelotonia. This year will be my 5th year doing that this August. So.
Very good. Now, Rick, I've met before on the Calvin's Challenge. You were the right-hand or left-hand persons of the Grahams over there, but tell me a little about yourself and your sort of unique bike shop.
Yes, I've been in the cycling industry for about 20-plus years. Started mountain biking. That's how I kind of got into riding. Went to the shop where I bought the bike. Ended up said, "Hey, I want to work and learn how to work on my bike. I don't want paid. I just want to learn how to work." The owners were like, "I don't know if we can do that. If our insurance will cover you." So he's like, "I'll get back to you." So ended up working for free for about a year, and then they needed some summer help. So I kind of got into cycling that way. And 20-plus years later, I've had my own shop. I closed it down, and now I do a mobile bicycle shop. So now I come to you. So Keith was a client of mine, and I do almost like a unique travel system per se, where I haul the bikes. The guys fly in, I pick them up at the airport, we go to the house, we have a great weekend, we ride, and then I haul the bikes back. So that's partly, there's one part, and then the other part you're talking about, Calvin's Challenge. Yes, I'm co-owners per se with Calvin's Challenge with the Grahams. Unfortunately, well, this will be our last year that we're going to be doing it, so hopefully somebody will purchase that.
So Rocco, let's go over to you. Tell me about yourself, Rocco, and a little bit about your cycling background. And
thanks, Lee. I got started in, gosh, I think it was 07 at that time. I was just out of shape, looking for a reason to get into shape. And a friend of mine told me about triathlon. I knew nothing about it other than what I watched on TV. There was a local one, I think it was 4 months out, and I said, sure, why not? And then, so from that point on, I was hooked. Bought a bike, anything about cycling. Last time prior to that was the shifters were on the down tube, so I knew nothing. I was pretty wet behind the ears. But coming out of triathlon, cycling became my passion. So I really got into it, and I was lucky enough to be able to ride all over the country. I've done 4 Ironman now, lots of Grand Fondos, and cycling now is just kind of a lifelong passion. And then, ironically, I was training for I think it was Ironman Arizona. It was November of 2013, and I was on one of my last training rides, and I ran into Keith and a few of his buddies, and I think they were just starting training for RAAM for 2014. And you can correct me later, Keith, if I'm wrong on the timing on this, but I think it was somewhere in there. And we ended up back, and they came over and introduced themselves, and we just chit-chatted for a few minutes. He said what he was doing, and I told him what I was doing, and we kind of shook hands, and that was that. And then fast forward, I think, 3 months in February, and I had already known Wes because he had a shop at the time, and I had frequented that shop. And he asked me if I wanted to be the crew chief for this Race Across the West team. Introduced me to Keith, and it just sounded like a great life experience. So I jumped in. It was a lot of work, but it was a ton of fun. I met all these guys, other than Kurt, and we had a blast, and I was hooked. That was an adventure of a lifetime. And then when RAAM came around, Keith knew that a bunch of us that had crewed wanted to ride, and he extended the invitation. I jumped.
Let's go to Mike over in Indiana. Since you have the same last name as Keith, I suspect you're his brother.
Yeah, so I'm the older brother by a few years, and began cycling back in college a few decades ago, and then did some triathlons mainly from a team aspect, and realized I was getting smoked in the run, so ran collegiate cross country my senior year. Was a terrible runner, but managed to improve my running speed a fair amount. And then from there, I did a few more triathlons, and then rode across the U.S. with my wife between college and medical school. And this race for me is sort of a retracing that route in many respects, whether it's Yarnell or coming across Durango and Silverton, and all the way across the U.S. It's great to be back involved in endurance cycling. And it's fun to have it be a family affair, obviously, and with some friends and fellow endurance athletes. It's really a great thing to plan for, train for. To be coached for the first time has been awesome, and hopefully to plant the seeds with young Zach behind me. Our connection with Operation Walk has gone over the last couple decades as well. To see the team rally behind that effort is really awesome. So we ride so other people can walk, and I think that's a great theme as we try and work our way across the U.S.
Okay, and Zach Setz, the young man smiling there behind you, is it?
Yeah.
Tell me about yourself, Zach.
I started cycling probably 2 or 3 years ago, and I started just sort of riding around the block and training for the Pelotonia around Ohio. And I started my first year doing the 50 mile. And last year I did the 100, and it was really fun. I started racing cyclocross this fall and throughout the winter. And I joined a team and started racing around. And this is going to be my first road season. And I'm really excited to be supporting the crew and the team in RAAM this summer.
Well, we was glad to see a lot of you yesterday over at the crew seminar in Dublin. While there, I was able to do a little video clip. I'm going to run that right. And just your name?
Chip Smith, writer.
And you're a writer? Where are you from, Chip?
Here, Columbus, Ohio.
And you're?
Andy Hubbard. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm crew.
Your crew? Okay, very good.
Sean Cantrell, Powell, Ohio, and I'm crew.
One of my good friends lives in Powell, Ohio. Do you know her, Pascal or Kanji?
Probably haven't met her yet.
Oh, you should. She's a dynamo. Yeah. If you keep up with her, you're a good rider, I'll tell you.
Hi, Peter Anderson. I'm a crew from Westerville, Ohio.
Westerville, okay. And you?
I'm Rick Miller from Utica, Ohio. I'm crew chief.
Okay, we know Rick from Calvin's Challenge. And you are?
I'm Keith Barron from New Albany, Ohio, and I'm one of the racers.
Okay, very good, Keith. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm Mike Barron from Indianapolis. I'm also a rider racer.
Your brothers, right?
Brothers.
Okay, very good. Good to have you. And you are?
I'm Zach Barron from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I'm part of the crew.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you, guys. A couple of you have mentioned already that you are riding for a particular cause and charity. Who wants to introduce that subject to us?
I can. I think we all can speak to it. But so basically, Midwestern Blazing Saddles has come together. As you mentioned, our previous RAW team was called RAW Ortho. Mike and I are hip and knee surgeons in Columbus and in Indianapolis. Kurt is a hip and knee physician's assistant. John is a executive with one of the largest manufacturing companies of hip and knee implants in the world. Lance is a former executive with that same company. So we've got this very in-depth background with orthopedics. And then by bringing together our friends and coaches and crew members that are orthopedic-minded, Chip is in the orthopedic industry, so that hence the name Raw Ortho. And now that we've expanded to outside of orthopedics in terms of our racers, we're calling ourselves Midwestern Blazing Saddles. But with our orthopedic background, Mike and I have had the pleasure and the honor to have worked with Operation Walk Mooresville and Operation Walk Utah for the last 15 years or so. What Operation Walk does is it's a 501c3 non-for-profit organization which provides free hip and knee care to the most needed areas of the world. In particular, the poorest areas of the world, such as Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador, Cuba, Haiti, and locales as such. And what we do with Operation Walk is both Mooresville and Utah will once a year take an entire team of folks, nurses, anesthetists, surgeons, reps, techs, helpers, people to do every aspect of care of the patient, physical therapists, and we take the crew down and spend roughly a week in these countries. We work at the local hospitals, we work with the local physicians, and we'll do upwards of 100 to 120 free hip and knee replacement operations for these folks that have literally no other access to care. I mean, they couldn't dream of having these types of operations and being able to afford these life-changing operations. So we've been deeply involved in that, and as Mike mentioned, we feel very honored that the team has been willing to get around this as our cause, for which we're raising money. We can raise money by directly going to their websites at www.operationwalkmooresville, MOORESVILLE.org, or operationwalkutah.org. And both of those websites have donate buttons. It's as easy as donating. It's a tax-deductible donation. Every penny's going straight to the website. We're underwriting this entire adventure ourselves so that we can raise awareness and raise money for those people in the deepest need around the world for hip and knee care.
Okay, and let me ask you, Mike, how big of a entourage does this involve? I mean, your brother mentioned a whole lot of people there. How many people do you take with you?
So each year we take approximately 60 or 70 medical personnel, from anesthesiologists to surgeons to internal medicine physicians, pre- and post-operative nurses, translators, physical therapists, and logistical people. And we essentially set up a joint replacement hospital within a local hospital in country. And we have relationships with leading surgeons in those countries. They've sort of set the stage for us to logistically make it through customs and get our equipment in. We ship down an entire tractor trailer full of equipment, and the orthopedic manufacturers such as Zimmer Biomet will donate hundreds of thousands of dollars of implants that we can install, and then we bring the surgical equipment, the surgical supplies, and everything it takes to perform a joint replacement operation. Each trip costs approximately $150,000 to $175,000 to put together. So each joint replacement operation costs roughly $2,000 to execute from a mission standpoint. And so we'd invite anyone who's interested in partnering with us to consider sponsoring one or more operations for these patients. And we usually go down for 1 week at a time and perform roughly 100 joint replacements and 25 foot and ankle procedures. We've diversified from hip and knee surgery only into the entire lower extremity with foot and ankle reconstruction and the latest technology of ankle replacement. So it's really an amazing thing to see people that can't walk and then are given their ability to walk again and gain their mobility back. The benefit to the society and communities that comes from joint replacements is unparalleled with any modern operation, and it's fun to share that with other areas of the world that would not otherwise have that opportunity.
Lee,
Okay.
can I mention as well, Mike mentioned Zimmer Biomed, who's been a faithful and ongoing supporter of Operation Walk across the country, and particularly Operation Walk Mooresville. Operation Walk Utah is supported by Total Joint Orthopedics, or TJO, who also is one of our sponsors of the race team this year. And so there are a lot of people involved, just like with Racing RAM. I mean, we went to the seminar yesterday, and moving 16 or 20 people across the earth for 7 days is a massive undertaking, and these Operation Walk missions are massive as well.
Okay. I don't. No, you're back again. Well, I was going to ask John just what role your company provides the devices. Is this correct? How does that work?
Yeah, we have done this in the past. Historically, we have provided various hip and knee replacements as a donation, as a charitable donation to Operation Walk, and that sort of feeds the efforts of all the rest of the surgical team and all the rest of the folks that are involved with Operation Walk and helping to share these extremely successful procedures with underprivileged portions of the world that would not otherwise necessarily be able to afford these sorts of devices and procedures.
Well, while you've been talking, on your screen has been appearing the links that you mentioned to this one in Indiana and the one in Utah. And if you're watching the show on the OhioRAAMshow.com, right below the video, you will see a link that you can click on and learn more about these. And as you said, the donation pages are right there. But I will make sure those get on there so that people can see them. And I want to go to Kurt now. You're a physician's assistant. You have made these trips as well, have you, Kurt?
I have not had the opportunity to make a trip quite yet. I've been working for Mike for just over 4 years now, and you kind of have to be around a little bit longer to get the invite. So I'm hoping one of these days I'll get to go help out and make a difference.
It's looking good in the future. It's looking good. We make it through RAM. That'll be a surefire entry to OpWalk.
I was going to say we'll put a little pressure on here, Kurt, and try to get
a lot of pressure on me. I feel pretty fortunate to be here. So.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a wonderful project. I'd never heard of it before, although I remember your name from Raw. As I said, you'll find those links if you're watching the show somewhere else on YouTube or on one of the websites that embed the show. They have several sites that embed our playlist. You'll see the link there. You'll have to copy it in, but otherwise just go to OhioRAAMshow.com, and right below my chin here, you'll see the links to these two sites where you can learn more about this and make a donation. Now, I want to go back to Rick here as crew chief. Rick, how's your crew shaping up? You need more crew? They look pretty good.
No, we're going to have a solid crew. The good thing is, I can pull from Rocco, who crewed for their Raw team. So if I have any questions, with owning my own business and logistical from just picking up people flying and then just taking care of my business, I think I have the right positive attitude, and then the assets to help them with their team to make sure. I know our goal just changed from yesterday to today. Originally, our objective was, I think, under 7 days, but I heard today it was under 6 days. While we were at the crew meeting yesterday, Keith was like, "We're going to win it," and I looked up to see what the record was, and it was 5 days, 3 hours, and 45 minutes, and he's like, "I don't know if we can do that." He's like, "But we're going to try." So now I see we're under 6 hours today. So I'll have to have a talk with Coach Wes and see what we need to do to make that happen. So.
Well, are you going to have a chance to get out there and practice your transitions?
Yeah, we have a couple training vacations. I'll call them vacations because I won't be at home. So it'll be, you're riding your bike. How bad is that?
Well, there was a great team. They've gone professional, Team Type 1, who I think set the standard for doing transitions. I had a chance to watch them and work for several times. It was wonderful, a wonderful thing to watch, even when they were transitioning from one squad to another, and you had a whole bunch of bicycles and luggage and everything. These people would get out of their cars or their vehicles, set up their portable showers, and they didn't talk to one another. They just knew what they were going to do, and they did it. If you can do that, Rick, then you have a chance at it. These guys, all they have to do is ride their bike.
Absolutely.
You got to make those transitions happen. So good luck to you, and we'll be watching you pretty doggone close. So thank all of you for being here. We'll do what we can to let people know about your charity, and I'm sure you'll help us as well. So let's just quickly go down the line, see if we've got any closing remarks, and I'm going to start over here with John. Anything you'd like to say before we leave?
I'm just excited to be part of this group of riders and have a great crew that we've put together. And after training for the last 4 months, I'm excited to kind of close in on the final little bit of training and get the show on the road. So I'm ready to go to it.
Okay, let's go to Keith and Dan there. How about you? What?
I think what you said, to throw a plug in for RAAM, I mentioned it yesterday at the crew seminar. This is an enormous undertaking, and we initially had aspirations to do RAM in 2014, and we backed down to RAAM, and that was not a disappointment. I mean, I think between the crew, many of whom are on the team now, and some are still crewing for us again this year, that experience was fantastic, and I would think that you would definitely want to do a RAM challenge, a 6, 12, 24 challenge, or at least Race Across the West before trying to do Race Across America. We learned so much. I think we're going to be in great shape with Rick at the helm and all the athletes that we've put together and Rick's crew. I think we stand a good chance of reaching our goals.
Okay, Dan?
Well, twofold, I guess. So as a rider, just excited to get out there. Coaching and crewing these guys for RAAM was amazing. So the fact that now I get a chance to actually be out on the road is really exciting. Can't wait to get out there. And as a coach, I mean, these guys are ready today. So the next couple months of training is we're just polishing the blade. So I'm really excited to see what we and these guys can lay down, because the testing and retesting we've been doing the last 4 months, these guys are blowing me away. I mean, we're talking serious commitment. They all have jobs and wives and kids, so they're making Coach proud.
Okay, good.
I got to up my game so I can keep up with these guys.
Okay, Kurt, what do you have to tell us before we leave?
I just can't wait to get out there. 4 months we've been training. Wes has put together great programs, and we're really seeing the results. Looking forward to getting outside. To ride with Mike and Zach the final 3 months. Can't wait to ride so others can walk. I mean, we're so blessed to have the ability to ride bikes, and I'm glad we can do something positive with it for Operation Walk.
Okay, Rick, what's your last words to us?
I just thanks for having us on the show. I mean, that would be a first. But
My
I'm
pleasure.
excited for June. It's for me. I told my wife, I'm like, this is something I want to do. I said it could be potentially, I would say, a once in a lifetime to be involved in something like this, and I wanted to be involved in it. So I think it's going to be a great time and a fun time at the end of the day. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not having fun, you shouldn't be doing it. So we're gonna hit our goals and we're gonna have fun. So.
Okie dokie. Rocco, what do you got for us?
I think Rick touched on it. This is it's a lifetime event. If you're not excited about this, then you're dead inside. So I'm just chomping at the bit like the rest of these guys to get outside. We've been stuck indoors for 4 months now on the trainer. Wes has been beating the crap out of us, but we're looking to get outside and get this thing going. It's going to be a blast.
Okay, and Mike.
Well, I think this is a great adventure, having done the raw side from a crew standpoint and watched these guys race. The amount of problems we encountered and teamwork that required to develop solutions was just a blast. Listening to Fred instruct us yesterday, I don't think we listened very well during the pre-raw instructions because all he said may happen in the various phases of the race. We certainly went through those in spades, and other than our van catching on fire, I think we had every other malady that could happen, short of injury, and the perseverance and teamwork that came out of that and lifetime memories was just incredible. So I'm excited to see what type of mud we can step in on this race, and also excited to really push ourselves in terms of speed and coordination and transitions. And to see America from a bicycle, I think, is a unique experience that not a lot of people get to do, and hopefully be a lifetime memory for us all. And then to coordinate that with Operation Walk, a long-time passion for many of us, is really great as well. So it's a lot of things coming together to bear fruit for this trip.
I've said something before, and I'll say it again. Those of us who have traveled across the country, coast to coast by bicycle, know something that other people don't know, and that's just how big and how wonderful this country is.
Absolutely.
Zach, when are we going to see you in OhioRAAM or?
Hopefully soon.
We have that RAM challenge out of Dublin. Maybe you could pop over there and try that. Get your dad and your uncle there to crew for you.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. And if you're there, well, I'll catch you there, okay?
All right.
Hey, everybody, thank you so much for being on here. I hope we can do you a little good on this, what seems to be an extraordinarily great project. And as Fred mentioned yesterday, we're raising a couple $1 million each year for various charitable goals. That wasn't the real plan for RAM and RAW when we started, but it has become important, and we're always happy to support that kind of thing. And hey, fellas, remember, time stations 41 in Oxford and 42 in Blanchester. We're there 24 hours a day. We consider ourselves a little preparation for the Appalachian Mountains. I almost threw in the towel in West Virginia. Well, thanks, guys, for being with us, and we wish you all the best, okay?
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Midwestern Blazing Saddles, for being on the show today. We wish you well. We hope you ride fast, you ride safe, and most of all, you raise a lot of money for your project of repairing people's bones in places of the world where they would never get any kind of care if it weren't for you folks. We appreciate you a great deal. We appreciate all the charities we have here on the show. Each year, the Race Across America raises millions of dollars for charities, and we're very happy to be some wee little part of that and enjoy promoting these things. And we thank all of you who support the show. We thank you for your shares, your likes, your pluses, your retweets, all the things you do to help this show gain attention. And it's more important that the wonderful sport of ultracycling gain attention, and you're doing it when you help make this show known. Thank you very much. And with that, we're going to say goodbye.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.